All right, in today's video, we are going to talk about merchant accounts. This is going to be some new information to some of you about how you can keep yourself compliant with your merchant account. You may not know this, or maybe you do know this. When you are given a merchant account, approved for a merchant account, it's like a privilege, because it's giving you the privilege to be able to charge debit cards, credit cards, to be able to have people pay for your products or services. Now, there is a give and take on this. When they say this privilege to be able to accept credit cards to take payments, you are also given the credit card companies and debit card companies, providers, the banks that provide them, the opportunity to also be able to make money. So they need people like you and I, business owners, who will take the risk, provide products and services to the community to be able to utilize those cards to pay for those products or services, because that's the way that they make additional revenue. So it's like a circular system with this. You have to protect your merchant account. There's several things that I want to go through that are like my top things that you need to watch out for when you have a merchant account. Because if you don't watch out for these, you can end up getting your merchant account shut down, and that will hurt your business. I had a guy from Florida gave me a call, and he was like, man, they shut down my merchant account, and he felt like it was just like the end of the world. And I remember years ago, this was in the 90s, and you can get merchant accounts a lot easier now than you could back in the 90s. New visitor. I remember my account got shut down, and I felt like it was the end of the world. And also, I had money in reserve in there. So I had, back then, it was probably about $6,000-$7,000. And, it could feel like, hey, business has stopped. And back then in the 90s, to be able to get another account, there wasn't too many companies that were out there really doing the accounts. It was basically monopolized by a few banks and providers. But now it's wide open. But the fundamentals of managing a merchant account are still the same, because if you don't do what I'm about to tell you in this video, you can end up losing your merchant account. And you do not want to be like this the guy that called from Florida had over 1,000 people, 1,000 clients paying a monthly recurring fee to his, utilizing his merchant account for his membership, and he lost it all. He lost it all. So you want to make sure you watch this video, because I'm someone who does it, millions of dollars in transactions with my businesses with the merchant account. I'm talking about millions, multi-millions of dollars. So this is a video that you do want to make sure that you pay attention to. So let's get right into it. One of the things that has kind of changed with the merchant accounts with companies like Square and Stripe, you don't have to go through a credit check. But the give and take on that is that when you don't do the credit check, you're going to pay a lot higher fee for your processing. That's what the give and take is on not getting the credit checks with the merchant account. I can tell you that when you have a direct to bank merchant account, you pay a lot less in fees when you have the get qualified using a credit qualified with a credit check, and you're going direct to bank. And if you want to find out how you can go direct to bank, you can contact me. I can get you set up with that for credit repair too. It is very hard to get merchant accounts for credit repair, but I can help you get approved. Well, get you in the right direction, get you with the right people, so you can get approved for credit repair. And the next thing is that you got to have a bank account for them to put the money in. So you need to have that bank account match what the merchant account is going to be utilized for. Like, all of this stuff is things that they're going to pay attention to when they're putting this in place, because if it doesn't match, they're going to feel like it's you're setting up fraud, all that type of stuff, and you don't want to make any red flags open up when you're setting up your merchant account. Another thing that they're going to do with that credit check is they're going to look at what's called a reputation check on your business and you. And what that is if you've ever been shut down. Now, if you've been shut down, it's not the end of the world. It is not the end of the world, especially now in I would say since 2016 and moving forward. Merchant account, different types of companies are out there. You can get yourself back going easily, but you just don't want to have a bad reputation, because if you have a bad reputation of getting shut down, it will eventually catch up with you. So don't be fooled. You got to do the things that I'm telling you to do in here. And I'm going to talk about some very important things that you got to do regarding keeping your account with good reputation, even if you get charged back. And I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So another thing is that you don't set up your merchant account with a name that's going to not coincide, or when you tell them how you're going to use the merchant account, make sure that you tell them that what you're using it for. Don't be, shifty on that. I did that way in the past. That does not work in your favor, because what they're doing now is you got to have your terms of service. The different shopping cart options have terms of service, your refund policy. And if you have any issues, they're going to know exactly what you're selling, because their client is going to tell them, the card holder that's trying to do the chargeback or whatever. And in your own documents, when you send over your proof of sale, your receipts, your terms of service, stuff like that, when they check into that, it's going to show exactly what product or service that you're selling. So make sure that you tell them, hey, it's for credit repair. And if they can't approve you for credit repair, go to someone who can approve you for credit repair. You can come to me, because I have a company that you can go to for credit repair. Now, another thing that you need to watch out for to make sure that you kind of keep a tab on this is your fees that you're paying. Because I had found out that with mine, when I was looking at the fees that I was paying, I was like, hey, I need to renegotiate this and get better fees. Now, I'm not talking about jumping from one company to another. You do not want to do anything like that. So yeah, you don't want to be jumping from one company to another. That I wasn't even going to really get into too much of that, but you'll have companies that'll call you and say you want to send them your credit card statement so they can see what fees you're paying, and then you can switch over to their service. And let me tell you the problem with that. And this goes to working with someone who actually does this. When you sign up and you with a merchant service, with a merchant company, with all of the ones that are like straight direct to bank, or regular type merchant services company, where you're not going to have those huge fees, they're going to do a reserve account, and also they're going to try to see how you're doing business. And so one of the benefits of being with a company a long time that you're processing through, new visitor, they're going to know you. They're going to know your refunds. They're going to know that you pay your refunds. They're going to know that you're responding to chargebacks. And so, you're not going to have to prove yourself to them. Anytime, I don't care who it is, anytime that you switch over to a company where you have to go through the full process, that's with the credit check, business info, and that stuff, they're going to make you have a reserve account. They all have you do that, but they're also going to, watch, you're going to feel like they're watching your transactions. Even if some of your higher ones, they might say, well, you need to have some type of proof or signature or something, proof of delivery. It just depends on the company that you're processing through. They're going to say that they want to make sure that transaction was legit. The reason why they're asking that is because they only make a small piece of that. So say, for instance, transaction was not legit, you go away, you're gone, you got the money. They got to pay all that money back regardless, when they only got a small piece of that money. That's why these merchant accounts are they can be very hard to get for the ones where you're not going to pay these huge fees. The other ones, even with Square and Stripe and all of those, they have restrictions. Number one, you got to prove your business. They just made an update on that. They're going to want your company information, everything. And it has to match. And then another thing is that they charge a fee. So you could end up like losing a lot of money if you're having chargeback issues and stuff like that. You can end up losing a lot of money. So you don't want to put yourself in that type of situation. Now, the reserve, and I kind of mentioned this a little bit, they put a reserve account because, and this is with the normal type of merchant accounts, is that they'll have that reserve. So a portion of the money that you have coming in is going to go into a reserve account. And what they'll usually do is after 6 months, they'll release that a portion of those reserves. So let's just say you're charging, everything is going good, you're paying your refunds, everything, you're just smooth. On the 6th month, what they'll do is when you get your normal disbursement of funds, they're going to give you that portion, still put a piece of that into the reserve and take a piece for their fees, but they're going to also start to release a portion of your reserve funds. And I went through that, and with one of them, I didn't even know the amount. It was over almost $100,000 in reserve funds, and I was like, "You need to give me some of those funds." And once you get a really good reputation, you can have a reserve fund set to where you'll get all of your money minus any of the fees that you have to pay at the end of the month. And that's the position that I'm in. And if you ever want to consult about how you can get yourself in that position, I can, that's something that I can work with you on. But that reserve is going to be set. It's going to be a percentage, and that's protection against any refunds that you don't pay. First, with the refunds, they don't go to the reserve account. The reserve account is going to be the reserve account. Reserve account is there if you end up disappearing. That's what they can dip in there and take care of stuff if people did refunds if you disappear. But if you are still doing regular business, the refunds are going to come out of your account. It's not going to come out of the reserve account. Now, chargebacks. This is something that's very important. I learned a lesson on this in the 90s, which is if I would have just followed the steps that they tell you at the beginning with chargebacks, and they give it to you on the sheet, is that you need to respond to all the chargebacks. Even if you want to give the person their money back, you need to respond to them. And there are specific ways that you should respond to those chargebacks. So if it's someone that wants to, and people do this a lot, where they'll just, rather than call you, they'll do the chargeback because they're going to get the money a lot faster. And so you would be like, hey, I'm not even going to dispute it. And you might think I don't need to respond. That is the wrong thing to do. You need to respond to the dispute, even if you're not going to dispute their dispute. And you also need to follow the directions, whatever they say with the company that you're with, and submit that to them. And then there's other things that I've learned that you need to also do, even if the person wants to just, you just know that they're just doing it for a refund. You need to mark that on your response, that they were basically trying to get their money a lot faster, by doing a chargeback. Because what this is going to do, remember, all of those statements, all of that stuff is being kept in a database. And if there's ever any issues with your merchant account, you don't want them to have information that's going to make you look bad, because it goes to what's called a risk assessment department. And the less issues you have with the risk assessment, you could just keep, moving at a smooth pace with your company, because you never want to be in that situation. All right, if you want to learn how to build your build a successful credit repair company, link is below this video. I go through with my course exactly what I've done to build a very successful credit repair company, talking about all of the things that you're going to encounter when trying to build a credit repair company. And also, if you want to just consult with us where we can set everything up for you, I have options for that. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams with Making Money with Stephen A. Williams here on YouTube.